Hello, my name's Steve, and this is my car. Doesn't look like much right now, and it's been 5 years since I got it. Got it in 2004. Today is October 22nd, 2009, and they can get to work on it for quite a few years. What kind of car is it? Well, what do you think it is? I get all kinds of cars. People say it's a Charger, they say it's a Javelin, they say it's a Chevelle, a Mexican Mustang. I don't know what those look like, but I guess this looks like one of them. I don't know. And because it's right-hand drive, people have asked me if it's from Canada. But it's not from Canada either. They drive the same way as we do. The steering wheel's on the left-hand side. But anyways, this is a documentary about my car, where I am at to this day, how I got here, and why I have this car. It started when I was 16. That was 1979, 1980, when the movie Mad Max came out. And there was a car in there. It was just incredible. Black, with a spoiler on the roof, spoiler on the trunk, fender flares, and blower sticking through the hood, and the meanest scoop I'd ever seen. That was just my dream car. That was my Batmobile. But like the Batmobile, I figured it was just made for the movie, so there was no way I'd be able to have one. Fast forward to 2003 in the wonderful world of the internet, and I found a website called madmaxmovies.com and learned that the car was actually made from a production car. It's an Australian Ford XB Falcon, 1973. The one in the movie was a GT with four-wheel disc brakes and a bunch of other stuff we didn't have here in the United States yet for a while. And then I found out you could also get replacement parts for it, and you can get the body kit to make your own Mad Max Interceptor. So once I found that out, I was stuck. I knew I was going to have one, and sure enough, here it is. I'm going to show you some pictures going back to when the car first arrived. Around the corner is where the semi-truck dropped off the car because he couldn't come into the neighborhood with the car hauler. And I have pictures of going to meet him. I have pictures of the car right when I got back, when it had been at my house for 6 minutes. And from then until now, it's pretty much been documented. Having some fun with the car, also the changes I did to the car, and of course getting it to this point here. I was going to take some video through the whole dismantle operation and everything, but it was just so much work and I got so into it and everything I just forgot about getting the video camera out, although I did take pictures of everything. So I do have still pictures that you'll be seeing quite a few of. I got this camera about the time that I got the car. So here's some old footage of the car when I first pulled it into the garage to get ready to take it apart, and then a little bit more later on when I made a few discoveries.
This is August 9th, 2006, and that's actually the day that the camera arrived. So I pulled the car in and started shooting it, and as you can see, I didn't know what I was doing with the camera. Also thinking about showing you some more leading up to this point of when the car arrived from Australia before we go into more footage. This is after the first time that I washed the car, got all the road grime off of it and everything, and you can see that the springs are wore out. It's pretty tired, sitting low. So one of the first things I did was work on the springs. The first thing I did was make a set of shackles like the car is going to have when it's in its Mad Max condition. So I made these up myself, and these are going to be on the car just like the car in the movie had. And you'll see in this next picture it jacked up the back end pretty high. Of course it looks higher than it really is because there's only 14-inch rims on there and the front springs are still wiped out, but I did replace those too. And here's the interior. It is not the GT interior. That's why you see that rectangular pattern on the door. And I'm going to have to get the interior completely redone. And for all my American friends, that's what a right-hand drive steering wheel looks like. And speaking of wheels, one of the first things I did after I got the springs taken care of was to get the correct rims and tires for the car so that I could drive it around. The rims and that came on it were already cracked, so I had to replace those in order to drive it around. Gave me a good excuse to go out and get the right rims for it anyways. And a lot of people, including my wife, told me I should just leave the car like this, and I was thinking, yeah, it looks pretty cool, and it is a really cool car, and a lot of people liked it, but it's not my dream car, so I'm pressing on with making it into the Interceptor. Here's some video footage of the back end of the car. The black honeycomb that you see on the back here is very similar to the early Torinos of the 1970s, early 1970s. The only difference was that they had the two-piece honeycomb on the back, and it was open in the middle, and that's why a lot of times people think these cars are Torinos. And you can see the exhaust opening is round in the bottom valance there, rear valance, and the Mad Max car, they need to be rectangular. And there's nothing wrong with your vision right now, it's the camera operator. I tried using the low light setting on it, and it just created this acid vision kind of look. But I wanted to shoot the interior of the car. This is while it was in the garage. And for it, my Australian friends, you'll recognize that mirror is not an XB mirror, it's an XA mirror, and that's because the car is actually an XA Fairmont 1972, and someone in Australia put all the bits on it to make it into an XB Falcon, and I was fine with that because it's still what I need to start with in order to make a Mad Max Interceptor replica. And not too much going on here in the engine compartment. And I'll be quiet now, let you listen to the original footage.
August 15th, 2006, and I did this destruction 2 days ago on Sunday, and it's looking kind of nasty, but that's mostly because it's so dirty. I did find up in this corner here, you can see that hole, kind of expected, and it's the usual cowl hole, just like the Mustangs have. And that's going to be a sheet metal repair. This is the progress that I'm making so far, and you got to start somewhere. The engine is a 351 Cleveland. My engine is made with the tooling from the United States. 1974, when Ford finished production of 351 Cleveland in the United States, they sent the tooling to Australia. So on my engine block is this little emblem, the CF that you can see here, that signifies Cleveland Foundry. And the other emblem that you would see would be GF for Geelong or Geelong Foundry. I don't know how they pronounce it in Australia, where they built these engines. Here's some more pictures of my engine coming apart.
It was pretty straightforward, pulling the engine out. While I was disconnecting the radiator hoses, I found this with a thermostat housing. How it didn't leak, I don't know. Maybe it was the two hose clamps that it had holding it in place. But as you'll see here, I've documented this thing as thoroughly as possible, and you're not even seeing a fraction of the pictures that were taken just of pulling the engine out. Taking some reference pictures as well of you know, all the bracketry and everything. So anyways, I got the thing out, put it on the engine stand, and one of the things I wanted to know right away is whether or not it had the 2V closed chambered 302 Cleveland heads on it. And so right away I pulled the cylinder head off, and sure enough, there's the closed chambers, and it's the 2V heads. So anyways, that'll conclude it for this video, and this is part 1, and in part 2 we'll show you how the body came apart, taking it down to nothing, getting it ready for sandblasting. So hope you'll come back for that.